Today we're going to be inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe and use warm and cool colors to create our own leaf paintings. I'm going to start by making a line in my paper. This line is just representing the center of the leaf. Then I'm going to make a curved line and another curved line. This is the edges of the outside of the leaf. Then V's. The V's represent the veins in the leaf. Then I'm going to rotate my paper and repeat this. Line, curved line, curved line. V, V, and maybe even another V there. Then I'm going to rotate my paper again. I want to create variety in my artwork by having my leaves aim in different directions. I also want to create movement. Movement is when your eye moves around the paper as you're viewing. And by changing the direction, I'm causing the viewer to move their eye around my paper. This makes for a more interesting piece of art. Then one more leaf here, and V's. For the next step, I'm going to make patterns. I'm going to use a variety of different patterns. You have a learning guide that shows you a lot of different patterns you could choose from. You can pick these, or you can even create your own patterns. But I'm filling each of the sections of the leaf with a different pattern. This is creating interest for the viewer, just giving them more to look at and making them want to look at my paper for a little bit longer. If you want to repeat certain patterns, that's totally fine. But it will make for a more interesting view if you use lots of different patterns. Now I'm going to paint. I want to use warm and cool colors in this piece. But I am going to divide it. I'm going to use warm colors for my leaves. So colors like red, orange, and yellow. Think about hot, fire. These are the colors you think of, so you know those colors are warm. Now I'm using watercolor paint. When you use watercolors, you have to wake the paint up. You dip in the water, then swirl in the paint. The more you swirl, the brighter your color will be. When your paintbrush starts to get thirsty, it'll look scratchy on your paper, you know that you need more water. This should never feel gooey. It should feel super duper liquidy. You should have a big old puddle of water in each of the paints before you ever put that paintbrush to the paper. Now be gentle with the paintbrush, tippity toes on your paper. No booty scooting with that brush. We don't want to see that. It ruins the brush and it could also rip your paper. Now I'm going to switch to cool colors for the background, like blues, greens, and purples. I always think about mountains, and these are kind of the colors that I think of. And the mountains tend to be cool as opposed to warm. So blues, greens, and purples. I can choose just one of those colors and paint the whole background, or I can alternate. I could even create a pattern if I wanted to. You'll notice that when I have wet paint next to other wet paint, they kind of bleed together, and this can create a really pretty effect in a background. Now my paintbrush is looking thirsty, so I need to get him water. Now my piece is finished. It's full of pattern and colors, and I really isolated the warm and the cool colors in different areas. I've made a lot for the viewer to look at. I think they look really good.